Now is a former U.S. Navy SEAL. He, as I mentioned, was at the World War II Memorial Protest in D.C. About a week and a half. He, as I mentioned, was at the World War II Memorial Protest in D.C. About a week and a half. Now, please, if you call me Mr. Malzberg, I have to call you Mr. Benjamin.
Well, you said you were the captain.
Okay. Well, then it should be Captain Malzberg, I guess, theoretically. No. Anyways, please call me Steve. Well, good to talk to you. And you know, I always say this. Thank you for your service, and I mean it. I don't just say it. I mean it. And my son, who's 14, believe it or not, wants to be a Navy SEAL. I don't know if he has it in him, but that's what he says he wants to do. Now. Let me ask you something, because I heard you on Fox, and right away I said, let's get him. And this to me, I don't know, why do you think, or tell us what you said, first of all, about martial law and this government?
That was an interesting question. It was I wasn't really expecting it. And, you know, when he was asking me that, you know, like right before the show, he goes, like, you know, we're going to ask you about you know, government trying to impose martial law, like, you know what I mean? It's
And who was this again?
This was the interview with Hemmer and
right.
It took a quick. This was the interview with Hemmer and It took a quick. It was like pre-interview stuff, but then they went on that, so it was organic and just straight out, kind of towards. You know, when you talk about martial law, it's coming from a lot of aspects where people look at it as conspiratorial. They're the crazy wackos on the fringe. But what I had, Sheila Jackson Lee.
Oh, I'm glad you said that. Let me just say it first. Sheila Jackson Lee. I played this. I just talked about it before we had you on. We played the soundbite last week. There she is on the floor of the House talking about the shutdown and saying we could pass bills very quickly because we have something here called martial law. And saying we could pass bills very quickly because we have something here called martial law. And if she was talked about as possibly, now I don't know if you put two and two together like I'm doing here. She was talked about being possibly the head of Homeland Security. And I'm thinking, who did she interview with, if she interviewed? What did they tell her? Did she have that on the brain? And did that slip out based on a conversation she had either with the president or with somebody further down the chain?
Yes. Also, look at Janet Napolitano in the 2009 extremism evaluation of military members possibly being, you know, terrorists, right-wing organizations,
right,
and patriot groups. I mean, this isn't something that is not talked about up there. You've got a president who is versed in something that is not talked about up there. You've got a president who is versed in, and there's, you know, this isn't something that isn't talked about up there. So Sheila Jackson Lee, with what she said, understanding of what martial law is the suspension of the Constitution, and that right there is everything that all is the suspension of the Constitution, and that right there is everything that all overseas. And to be at the World War II Memorial and to speak to these issues, the only time in any of the shutdowns where the memorials were shut down and veterans were, like, you know, to be kept out.
Right.
This, you know, they're trying to silence us, and veterans were, like, you know, to be kept out.
Right.
This, you know, they're trying to silence us. World War II Memorial and the significance of the moment. I'm standing there in front of veterans from World War II, you know, the greatest generation. In their 90s, they're a dying breed. And you got Korea vets, you've got Vietnam in their 90s, they're a dying breed. And you got Korea vets, you've got Vietnam War, and then you've got the vets from, you know, the wars in the Middle East. And to stand in front of them and to talk with them about what's on their minds, what I'm saying is not fringy. What I'm saying is very tame. Like, the veterans of this country see what's going on. They see the news. They've been around the world. They understand kind of how governments around the world have fallen, and they've become adversarial to their people. And they're seeing it now with our country and what's going on. And to sit there at this moment in time talking about a constitution at the World War II Memorial, it is absolutely so inspiring to be in front of these guys, but to talk to that issue is absolutely scary that we're having this issue within our country and a conversation of this magnitude. So,
well, Ben, let me just reintroduce you. We're talking to Ben Smith, former U.S. Navy SEAL, who, as he mentioned, was at the World War II Memorial, and just recently during that shutdown of that whole horrific affair where they put the barricades up and tried to shut it down. And but let me ask you, in your wildest nightmares, how does this come about? I mean, what precipitates it?
Well, what precipitates...
Well, maybe wildest nightmares isn't an accurate question.
Well, what precipitates...
Well, maybe wildest nightmares isn't an accurate question. What precipitates it?
Well, the reality of being a soldier, of being someone out there with, you're on whatever front line, you got to boil things down real fast to,
But I mean, what does the government do? How would it happen in your view?
What, the shutdown?
If there was martial law, God forbid, like as you've talked about, as you fear, how do you fear it would manifest itself? How would it come about?
You want to look at 5 minutes after.
Well, what would be? Yeah, I mean, would we in your view, would we wake up one day and wake up to it somehow, or would something happen? Would it be the power grid that goes out, and as a result of that, I mean, what do you see? Is what I'm saying.
Okay, well, those issues right there, and if you want to go into that, we got a few shows we got to sit down, because I'll play that game, and because we need to look at it as unemotional, as uncrazy as it should be.
Yeah, and I'm just trying to get to your, because it's something that you've talked about, so I thought
as it should be.
Yeah, and I'm just trying to get to your, because it's something that you've talked about, so I thought yeah.
That's what I'm trying to get
to.
Basically, with this situation and what's happening, it's not going to be all of a sudden we wake up, as you heard, Reagan say, wake up, we'll be socialists. No, what has to happen here, and what it seems like, and the general conversation is, they need a reason to discredit veterans, to discredit the Patriot movement, to make us look bad, like we're the fringies, and we're violent, and we're bad, and we must be done away with, and guns need to be taken from us. Convince the public or make us look bad enough so they can try to clamp down on us. But bad enough so they can try to clamp down on us. But the military is not allowed to operate or do anything within continental United States on sovereign American land. And that's to prevent, say, a Syrian states on sovereign American land. And that's, to prevent, say, a Syrian. Yes, and it basically kind of was circumvented, like, yes, and it basically kind of was circumvented, like, which kind of is an antithetical argument to posse comitatus. And these things have, which kind of is an antithetical argument to posse comitatus. And these things have, in the past few years, and the military people see this, and there's no voice being spoken in the media, and there's no voice being spoken in the media, and being leaders, because you've got the conservative movement, American movement, whatever you want to call it. I think Republicans and Democrats are kind of very much lost, and the veterans now aren't even going towards politics. I think it's like 15% are in politics or running the country, and their analytical skills, the military mindset, that needs to start being common discussion, because if things go sideways economically or in whatever way something happens, people come to the military guys first. What do we do now?
Right.
I don't know where my next meal is. I don't know how to survive when ShopRite goes down. So
no, and that's of course, you know, and I heard a whole speech from Congressman Trent Franks about our susceptibility to the power grid, to all kinds of you know, attacks, magnetic attack that would just cripple us possibly for many months or years, and it's very frightening. Hey, Ben, interesting conversation. I thank you for your service, and thanks for talking with us, sir.
Hey, let's talk more.
Okay, sounds good. Take care. Ben Smith, ladies and gentlemen, take care. Former U.S. Navy SEAL here on the Steve Malzberg Show. Okay, when we come back, another look at a close look, a very close look. Luke Chung, president and founder of FMS Software Solutions, will tell us why the Obamacare website is a disaster right here on the Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.